Alright, so today we are going to do the adding and subtracting lesson from our radicals unit. Adding and subtracting radicals is very similar to adding and subtracting like terms. So if I have the following algebraic expression, 5x squared plus 3x minus 2x, I hope you would say, well, these are all like terms. Okay, which means that I can just simply add the number of them. I have 5 plus 3 is 8. Minus 2 is 6. So I have 6x squared. So just as x squared, 5x squared plus 3x squared is a like term, we would say that 5 root 3 plus 3 root 3, because the radicals are the same, and it's important that the radicand and the index are the same. So just as this is the same as 8x squared, this 5 root 3 plus 3 root 3 is the same as 8 root 3. So if I want to add 5 root 3 plus 3 root 3 minus 2 root 3, notice that the radicands are the same, and the index is the same, and therefore I can add these just like if they're like terms. So 5 plus 3 is 8, minus 2 is 6. I have 6 root 3's in total. Okay. What about if the radical, or what if the radicand or the index are different? So say we had root 2 plus 3 root 3. I cannot simplify this any further. The radicands are different, and my indexes are different. Okay, so we can only add or subtract radicals when the radicand and the index are the same. So if I ask you to simplify the first example, so example 1, then notice I have some similar radicals. I also want you to note that always, always, always the first step is to simplify your radicands. Okay, so simplify those radicands first. In this case, we can't simplify anything because the square root of 6, it doesn't simplify any further. Same thing with the square root of 2. So when we're looking at this question, notice that I have 2 square root 6's and then I have a square root 2. Okay, so my like terms are the square root of 6. So I have a minus 1 here, and I have a minus 2 here. So minus 1, take away another 2, it's minus 3. And it's minus 3 root 6's plus 3 root 2. And this would be my solution. And that's because I cannot simplify these. It's the same idea if I had minus 3x plus 3y. These are not like. Same as these are not like. So I cannot simplify. Okay, so again, we're going to use this concept that I just said. We've got to simplify. Simplify. There we go. The radicand first. Okay, so for example, 18 I can break down to 2 and 9, 3 and 3. There's a pair here. It's a square root, so I can rewrite this as root 5, 9 times 2, which is 5 root 9 times root 2, which is just 5 times 3 root 2, which is 15 root 2. Okay, so I'm going to adjust that. What about my root 8? So I've got 3 root 8. This is 2 and 4. 2 and 2. My pair is here. So really I can rewrite this as 3 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 2, which is just the same thing as 4 multiplied by root 4 multiplied by root 2, which is just the same thing as 3 multiplied by 2 multiplied by root 2, which is the same thing as 6 root 2. Okay, so I did some simplification here. So I'm going to rewrite my whole thing. So I started off with this. 5 root 18 plus 3 root 8. I simplified 5 root 18 to become 15 root 2, and I simplified 3 root 8, and it became 6 root 2. Now I can look for like terms. Okay, I've got a square root of root 2. So the square root of 2. I have the square root of 2. So those are like, which means I can count how many of them I have. Well, I have 15 here, and I have 6 of them here. My total is 21 root 2. And that is my answer. All right, let's do one more example. All right, so I have 7 multiplied by the square root of 48 minus 2 multiplied by the square root of 75. So I'm going to simplify them individually. So if I simplify 7 root 48 first, 2 and 24, 2 and 12, 2 and 6, 2 and 3. It's a square root, so I'm looking for pairs. I think by now we're getting to the point where we can do this probably a little bit faster. So I have 4 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 3. This is going to become 7 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by root 3, which is just 28 root 3. And what about my 2 root 75? Well, 75 is going to break down to 5 and 15. And then we have 5 and 3. I have a pair here. So 2 root 75 is the same thing as 2 root 25 multiplied by 3, which is the same as 2 multiplied by 5 multiplied by the square root of 3. Again, I just got this 5 from the 25. And this becomes 10 root 3. All right, my question, the original one was 7 root 48 minus 2 root 75. And the 7 root 48 we simplified to become 28 root 3. My 2 root 75 simplified to 10 square root of 3. Notice that they're both the square root of 3, so I can just count them, which means I've got 28 there, and I'm taking away 10 of them, so I have 18 root 3s. And that is my answer. And we're done.